I'm Tillett Wright, and I'm an artist born and raised in New York City. Self-Evident Truths is a photographic record of LGBTQ America today. My aim is to take a simple portrait of anyone who's anything other than 100% straight or feels like they fall on the LGBTQ spectrum in any way. My goal is to show the humanity that exists in every one of us through the simplicity of a face. We hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal. It's written in the Declaration of Independence. We are failing as a nation to uphold the morals upon which we were founded. There is no equality in the United States. It's when you don't have to think about it. It's simple as that. The fight for equal rights is not just about gay marriage. Today, in 29 states, more than half of this country, you can legally be fired just for your sexuality. I've heard hundreds of people give the same answer. We are all responsible for equality. So far, we've shot 300 faces in New York City, and we wouldn't have been able to do any of it without the generous support of the Human Rights Campaign. I want to take the project across the country. I want to visit 25 American cities, and I want to shoot 4,000 or 5,000 people. This is my contribution to the civil rights fight of my generation. I challenge you to look into the faces of these people and tell them that they deserve less than any other human being. Hi, everyone. Is this thing on? Yeah. Hi. Oh, yeah, you guys are interactive. Hi. I'm Io. That was a long time ago, as you can tell by my haircut. I am an artist, an activist, a speaker, writer. I have more job descriptions than I can count, but I'm here to talk to you specifically about this project and uniquely to ask you for your ideas in return about a project that is in flux and growing and changing along with the legal realities of this country. So I was going to naturally break the ice with embarrassing childhood photos, but I was spared that indignity by a technical difficulty. So I will just tell you that I was raised in a very non-traditional way. I was raised by a pack of hooligan weirdos, performance artists, poets, showgirl, just strange self-invented characters in New York City. And I come to you now kind of as an ambassador from a distant planet, somewhat thrown back in time from the future when people don't have to come out. I didn't have to come out as gay. I didn't have to come out as somewhere on the trans spectrum. I was uniquely deprived of many things in my childhood, but also accepted 100% of the way for exactly who I said that I was. And I know that I am in the extreme minority. I tell you this to explain to you the context for the creation of the project that you just saw the very old manifesto video for. Because I was raised in this tiny bubble of drug addicts and drag queens in New York City, I was floored when Prop 8 happened. I couldn't believe that this country could be reverting in such a brutal way. And I was struck by the desire to do something, and I made a somewhat bumbling stumble into activism because I decided that I needed to do something. I felt an imperative to contribute something, but I had no experience in activism. I hadn't gone to college. I had no idea how to stand on a stage and speak to the smartest people in the world. That's you. And I decided what I felt was the major disconnect that was allowing people to regress was a lack of humanization. So I decided to apply what I thought I was good at, which was portrait photography, to what I cared about, and I decided to introduce people to each other. So fast forward, that was 300 people. When I had shot 1,700 people in 14 states, I encountered the ball-busting force that is Eve Ensler, and ended up, for the second time ever standing on a stage explaining my ideas, on the TED stage. Yeah, talk about needing to like pee and sleep at the same time. Just being honest. And I did a talk that I somewhat jokingly called 50 Shades of Gay, which stuck. And I explained that through doing this project, I had understood that I was accidentally doing something that I hated to have done to me. I was categorizing people, asking them if they were gay or trans or not. And if you are not, great, thank you so much. I don't want to take your picture, but I do want to photograph all of you. And then I realized that I didn't even feel comfortable being boxed into any of those categories. So I invented a percentage question on our release form and asked people to quantify themselves on a percentage spectrum from 1 to 100% gay. Very quickly thereafter realized that that was excluding the entire trans community. So all of this to say, over the last 5 years since I had that haircut, the project and LGBT rights, obviously, have advanced exponentially. And now the iteration of the project is, I've changed the goal to 10,000 faces in all 50 states, and we have 3 questions on our release form. You quantify them yourself, you qualify yourself for the project. The questions are 1 to 100% spectrum, no, 1 to 100% spectrum of your gender identity, how sexual you are, to include the asexual community, and 1 to 100% of the binaries of the gender of which you are attracted. So, when I have 10,000 portraits, I'm going to take those 10,000 portraits to the Washington Monument and lay them out on the National Mall and stage some kind of march on Washington and ask this country to look into the eyes of the people that it discriminates against. So, the main idea to spring from that incredibly nerve-wracking TED Talk that I gave was that familiarity, I think, is the gateway drug to empathy. And if we understand, I know that it's tricky with respectability politics, but I'm not making a play at respectability politics. I'm making a direct play at compassion. Because if we understand that discrimination and prejudice are rooted in fear, my intention is to attack that fear with the familiar. Show people something that they know. We're also doing a book, we're doing a film, blah, blah, blah. I find the power in storytelling, and that is my form of activism. We try to keep self-evident cool and accessible. We try to use pop culture as a means rather than an obstacle. I see all progress that is good as good. I don't ascribe to the view of it's not perfect, so it's not good enough. Yeah, there are a lot of reasons for that. But things have changed so much in the political landscape since I started this project that now we're kind of in this place of wondering how we as activists stay relevant and stay current and don't waste people's time. I mean, we have federal marriage, we have federal workplace protections, we have had, just this month, we have an Oscar-contending movie telling a trans narrative and one of the most popular shows on television also telling a trans narrative. We have trans people on the cover of Time and Vanity Fair. Obviously, the conversation has changed. How do we change with it? At the same time, this country is recently in permanent riot over racial injustices, and the front-running Republican candidate just leaned the country dangerously close to national xenophobia. So I, as an activist and the person at the spearhead of this project, have grown past LGBT issues into the broader conversation of otherness and all othering. I am now most fascinated by the mechanism in the human brain that allows us to allow awful things to happen to other people because they are different than us. And I believe that that is the most toxic force on this planet at the moment. I don't operate on the premise that all people are inherently good or all people are inherently race-blind, accepting, or homo or gender-friendly. I operate from the somewhat jaded perspective that we grow up in a world that conditions us very powerfully and very strongly. And as long as we deny that we are inherently racist, homophobic, transphobic, and prejudiced, we deny ourselves the opportunity to actually deal with our faults and address them with an accepting learning curve. So the primary tool that I use in trying to combat what I find to be a very unfortunate but base instinct side effect of our society is exposure, visibility, and storytelling. So the primary theme that I deal with now in talking to people, I'm writing a memoir, in all of the different methods of communication that I use is expanding one's circle of normalcy. And by that I mean if you took a flashlight, let's say when you're born, the universe shines a tiny flashlight above you, and as you grow, that flashlight lifts, and that circle of light is expanded, and those are the things that you have become exposed to, and those are the things that you are familiar with and sensitive to and care about and unafraid of. Society also exists in a greater circle of normalcy. If we see society as a clearing in a forest, for example, everything that exists within the societal norms and the societal rules is inside that clearing, and just outside of it, in the shadows, in the forest, are all the ghouls and goblins who exist outside of the societal norms. We all have our own circles of normalcy. They're all always growing and changing, and it's up to us how quickly and how intensely that expands, how fast you can shoot the flashlight up into the ceiling, if you will. So my activism, my intention, is to get people to go to the edges of the societal clearing and shine a light into the forest and befriend some ghouls and goblins and find out that they are not actually baby-eating Gila monsters that maybe society tells us that they are. Get to know the people that are different than you. Get to know the people that are politically different-minded, that are racially different. Get to know someone who has a different religion than you. It sounds like a very base concept, but it's something that we overlook in our daily lives all the time. So I guess this is where you come in. We are in the think tank phase of this project now and trying to figure out how to make this National Mall moment a relevant and important thing. I understand that race is the primary conversation in this country, and I don't want that to get lost. We have federal marriage, but trans people still face inordinate amounts of violence and are completely overlooked. Trans people of color are also uniquely at risk. So I want to create a gathering of people that is not watered down by a vote by committee kind of creation, but is actually a unified moment of positivity for the LGBTQ plus community that we haven't had in a long time. So at the moment, the idea is to install the 10,000 portraits, form a partnership hopefully with StoryCorps so that people can come forward and tell their stories and be documented, have tents that deal with all of the different legal issues that we still face, have speeches, have performances, but most importantly, for people to come out and hopefully destroy the closet in this country once and for all. I would, in my wildest dreams, have several 100,000 people turn the camera on themselves and turn this into selfie-evident truths. I want people to unify and be proud. And the new frontier, I feel, is to stand in unity and solidarity and stand up for the millions of people in myriad countries around the globe who do not have the dignity of the power to stand up for themselves. So at minimum, we'll send thousands of people home feeling like they're part of a big family. Great. And at best, we would light 1 million little tiny fires of activism in a bunch of people who will take the issue home in whatever iteration they understand it and do something about what matters to them. And if that means that they're a kid with a camera who's going to stupidly set out to visit all 50 states and try to photograph 10,000 people, great. So that's all from me. I will be here all day. I would love to hear your ideas and your thoughts. If any of you, as some of the greatest thinkers I know, have any ideas or thoughts or suggestions in regard to this, that is the point that we are at. We are brainstorming, aiming for 2017 March, And I will also be outside during the entire lunch break photographing people for the project. If you would like to participate, it takes 5 minutes, and it's free, and I would love to have you. So thank you guys very much. That's also our website and Instagram if you want to get in touch with us. Thanks, guys.